Alright, I want to talk about why scientists, if they were to bring up intelligent design as a credible theory, why it is pretty much laughed at by other scientists. I want to explain why it's so ludicrous to mention intelligent design as a science to other scientists, or at least I'll attempt. It's my personal opinion. But in science, we observe things, we observe certain processes that go on within a cell, watch a cell grow, watch bacteria grow and develop and mutate and all this stuff. We observe that happening, and we create a hypothesis, we test it, or we do what's called like basic science, where we see that happening and we try and figure out why. We don't necessarily have a formulated hypothesis. It's just discovery-based science. So we're like, okay, we're looking at this and we're looking at different things attached to it and what happens and whatnot. But when we come up with a theory, like the theory of evolution, it has to be within the natural world, or it won't. It's not. It's no use to science, because if you say that it has to have a supernatural intervention for it to occur, for something to happen, science can't deal with it. Like, we don't have a way to deal with that. We can't make predictions based on that, and we can't change anything. Like with disease, if we say, well, this happens, but there has to be a divine intervention because we don't see how that could possibly happen, that won't help us. That won't help us advance our knowledge of anything, to assume that a supernatural being has a play in there and it pulls the strings and whatnot. Everything has to be explained in a natural way so that we can do things to change it, or just understand how it happens and why it happens. That's why it's so, like, when a scientist proposes intelligent design, proposes God as for a reason that we see something, it's so like, why are you saying that? It doesn't matter. We can't do anything with it, and that's why science has nothing to do with the supernatural realm, the God, or anything like that. It just can't deal with it, because it's no use to science. It's no use to it. And that's why if a scientist were like, well, this occurs because there's an intelligent designer, that's like, why, that's ludicrous. You can't say that, because it makes no sense. It's like, well, then that's why I watched a little bit of that Expelled with whatnot, and he's like, oh, just by mentioning it, I got my grants taken away and whatnot. Well, yeah, because if you're saying this occurs because of an intelligent designer, they're going to be like, well, that won't matter. We don't care anymore. Because if you can't explain it and be able to do something with it in the natural world, what's the point? Yeah, you might be able to be like, oh, well, God did it. And, okay, we can't do anything with that, so we're not going to give you money. We don't care. You have to be able to do something, produce something that will affect it. And now you can have, I think religion should be mainly philosophy. Like, like, it's hard to explain what I think religion should be. It should not be something to give you answers of why you see something occur. Like, in ancient times, people like, whoa, the sun moves across the sky. There has to be a God doing it, because they didn't understand. And we have found we know why that occurs now. And to start doing it now because things are getting complex is just idiotic. Because, yeah, we started off explaining the simple things, and then as our development of the microscope, we're like, holy crap, there's a whole new world, there's all these small organisms everywhere. This is amazing, and then we kept on going lower and lower. Things get more complex. We start explaining all the simple things, and we go deeper and deeper into the more complex things. But now is no time to assume, like, wow, God had to have done that. That is just so complex. It's so amazing. There are easily natural explanations for everything that occurs. Because if we could observe something that was supernatural, it's no longer supernatural, it's natural. So there's no reason to assume that a supernatural being is being like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. There's just no logic behind it. And that's why you cannot have evidence for a supernatural being. You can have feelings and you can have faith and it can help you understand the world, but that is not empirical evidence of a God. That is just a personal belief, a personal feeling. And as anyone in the science field knows, you can't use feelings for explaining things. Like, it has to be empirical reasoning for why that occurs. And it's just, it comes from, honestly, I think the main reason people are opposed to evolution, mainly religious people, is because they do not understand science. Now, I'm not saying you're stupid. I don't understand how business works. I can't speak French. I can't speak German. Does that mean I'm an idiot? No, it just means I don't understand those things. And I would not try to be like, well, you speak French, but I think this is how you should speak it, like, you're not doing that right. You're wrong. Even though I don't know anything about it. I can't, it's ludicrous, and that's why science is up in arms now, because these people who have never even taken a science class, maybe they had high school biology, they think that they can make more sense of things than the scientists who have studied it for years and years. It's that whole thing, like, I've heard people say, oh, don't believe the experts, you can have your own opinion on things. Well, yes, you can have your opinion on things, but you gotta understand, that's like telling your doctor, it's like, he's like, okay, you have this disease and whatnot, and you're like, no, that doesn't sound right, no, I have this disease, even though you don't really know. You might guess it every so often, but you don't know, and you shouldn't be making those things. Now, you should maybe question the people, you should question scientists, but when they show you right in front of you, here's the evidence, this is why I'm saying this, and you have to deny the facts, like religious people do a lot of times, whether you think you are or not, you are. Every time I hear that there are no transitional fossils, I'm like, how can you say that? You're holding on to something that's false. It's a straight up fact that there are transitional fossils. I'll give you one, Tiktaalik. Look it up, there's a transitional fossil. Now, if you have a different understanding of what a transitional fossil is, you may be expecting to see something that's not possible. Like that whole crocoduck thing, that's stupid. And sorry, but we do see things that are part one type of animal, part the other. But a common understanding of things is different than a scientific understanding of things. Just like the word theory and the common usage is a lot different than theory and the scientific usage. Same kind of thing going on. But I would say you need to listen to the experts and study it if you want to make any comments on it. You can't go by, like, personal feelings. You may feel to the deepest part of your heart that there is a God. That's fine. You can believe that. But when you say that doesn't make sense because there has to be a God, even though it's facts that they're using, it's stupid in my opinion. I understand, I don't know how businesses work. I don't understand how the government works all the time. I understand little pieces of it. But I would never try to be like, you know what, you should change here. You should do it this way and not that way. Because I don't know. I would just be, it might as well be, I randomly pick things up and like, okay, do this, this, and this. Because I don't know. And that's why, and I get so frustrated with celebrities trying to give medical advice, but that's a whole nother video for a whole nother time. But yeah, that's my thought on some things. Just thought I would make a video about it.